This math video is on time. Section 1, as time goes by. Units of time. I'm going to go through these very quickly. You need to know what each unit is and how to convert between them. To have a look at a list with all the information, you'll need to look at either your PDF or the workbook. So a second is the smallest unit of time we're going to be looking at. Seconds can be split into smaller units such as milliseconds and nanoseconds. A minute is 60 seconds. An hour is 60 minutes. A day is 24 hours. A day's the amount of time it takes for the Earth to rotate on its axis. A week is 7 days. A month is approximately the amount of time it takes for the Moon to orbit the Earth, which is 28 days. A month, though, is between 28 days and 31 days. The only one that changes is February, which is 28 days most of the time, but 29 days in a leap year. A leap year is a year that's divisible by 4, so it happens generally every 4 years. You need to know how many days each month has, and there are a couple of ways of doing that. There are 12 months in a year. In a decade, there is 10 years, a century, 100 years, and in a millennium, there's 1,000 years. Millennia is a plural of millennium. There are two main ways of telling the time, 12-hour time and 24-hour time. We're going to look at both. So let's look at 12-hour time first. In 12-hour time, we use AM and PM. So here's a standard clock, a 12-hour clock, and the 12-hour clock has two hands, the large or minute hand and the smaller or hour hand. So the long hand, the hour hand, when it points to the 12, it is something o'clock. When it points to the 6, it's half past the hour. When it points to the 3, it's quarter past 2. When it points to the 9, it's quarter to. Every number is worth 5 minutes. So when the minute hand points to the 1, it is 5 past. 2, it's 10 past. When it points to the 4, it's 20 past, and so on. Obviously, a lot of clocks do not have the little numbers written. Going to the hour, when the minute hand is pointing to the 11, it's one number before the hour, so it's 5 minutes to. When it's pointing to the 10, it's 2, so it's 10 minutes to. When it's pointing to the 8, it's 20 minutes to, and pointing to the 7 is 25 minutes to, because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers before the hour, and 5 times 5 is 25. Let's look at an example. In this example, the minute hand is pointing here. So I've got two numbers, 5, 10, and then 3 little lines. So that's 13 minutes past, and it's just after the 8. It's in this half here between the 12 and the 6, so it's going to be the number past the hour, and the hour that's just gone past is 8. So it's 13 minutes past 8. It's 12 hours time, so we're going to use AM or PM. In this case, we're going to say it's in the morning, so it's AM. AM is before midday, and PM is after midday. In digital form, we write the hours first, which is 8, and it's 30 minutes past that, so that's 13, 8:13. And again, we need the AM or PM in 12-hour time. Let's look at a second example. In this example, it's in the to section of the clock, and it's pointing to the 8, which is 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes to, and the hour that it's nearly at, it's the number of minutes to, so it's going to be to the next hour, and the next hour, the little hand, the hour hand is going to reach is the 8, so it's 20 minutes to 8. And again, we'll say it's morning, so it's AM. In this case, digital is a little bit different. In digital time, the hour that it's already been is always the one used. We never use to, it's always the hour that it's actually already passed. Well, it's already past the 7. It's not yet at the 8, so we can't use the 8. It's the hour that it's already gone past, which is 7. And then for the number of minutes, well, it's pointing to the 8. Every number is worth 5 minutes, so 8 5s are 40, so it will be 7:40. And again, we need to use AM or PM. What about when it's exactly on 12? 12 midnight is AM, and 12 midday is PM. Because at even a second past, it's going to be that much after midday. PM stands for post-meridian, or after midday. So exactly at 12 o'clock, we still say it's PM. That's when we change to PM. Midday can also be called noon. And AM, being anti-meridian or before midday, is before noon, which is when midnight changes to the new day, and it's certainly a long way before 12 hours before midday, so it's AM. What about 24-hour clock? Well, on the 12-hour clock, we go to 12, and then we go back to 1 again. There's 12 and we go back to 1. In a 24-hour clock, we cover the whole 24 hours of one day, from midnight 00 to midnight again. So you can see here, well, the 12-hour time has before and after. 24-hour time is just one complete day without changing. And so while in the 12-hour time we go from 12 back to 1 p.m. in 24-hour clock is going to be 13. It just keeps counting after 12. Keeps counting from 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, just keeps going. To convert from 12-hour time to 24-hour time, if it is AM, we write as 4 digits and remove the AM. So for example, 8:36 AM in 24-hour time will be 0836. So we add the 0 because it needs to be 4 digits. Of course, if it's 10 or 11, you don't need to add a 0 because it's already in 4 digits. And then we remove the AM. If it is PM, we add 12 to the hours and remove the PM. So we're adding on the morning. We're adding on the midnight to noon. We can't have PM because that's how many hours after midday it is. Well, if it's 1300, it's not 13 hours after midday, so PM doesn't make sense. So example, 8:36 PM in 24-hour time, I add on 12 to the hours, 8 plus 12 is 20, the minutes stay the same, giving me 20:36. No PM, it is not 20 hours after midday, it's 20 hours after midnight, so PM would make no sense. What about 24-hour to 12-hour? Well, to convert to that, if it's less than 12, i.e. 11 or below, then we remove any leading 0 and we add AM. If it's before 12 and 24-hour clock, it must be in the morning, from midnight to midday. If it is 12, then we leave it as is and add PM. If it is more than 12, we subtract 12 from the hours and add PM. What about midnight? In 12-hour time, it's 12 AM. In 24-hour time, it's all zeros. So it's the starting point. It's where we start. Time fractions. When we look at fractions of time, all numbers must be in the same units, and then they work as any other fraction. So for example, what fraction of a week is 42 hours? First, convert the week to hours. 1 week is 24 times 7 because there's 24 hours in a day and there's 7 days. So I've got 24 lots of 7, which is 168 hours. So for the fraction is what amount we're talking about over the total, which is 42 out of 168. I then simplify, which will give 1/4. So 42 hours is 1/4 of a week.